This is the Date Night Dice podcast, a podcast mostly about board games.
Probably not.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 45 of the Date Night Dice podcast. Yes, that's right. We're back once again from a little bit of a hiatus. Was it a hiatus? I'm not sure. I am your host, Ben, along with...
I thought you were going to just claim the host.
I'm the host.
I'm M.
I'm the host, Ken.
There we go.
There we go. Tri-host, three-way host. Host Arena.
Yeah.
On this evening's episode, we're going to talk about what we've been up to outside of the podcast. A lot of fun stuff. We went on a couple of trips. We're going to talk about a bunch of board games because for some strange reason, we managed to play a whole bunch, and I can't wait to talk about them. We've got some Instagram questions. Maybe we'll talk about some video games and some shows. Mm-hmm. And as always, we'll have a Would You Rather.
Oh, shit. I need to...
Is that a standard now? Is that a part of the...
I believe we have had a Would You Rather every episode for like the past 20 episodes.
Should we make that a thing?
I think it should be called Would You Either, and then we just sort of repackage it as something new, even though it's definitely not new.
Right. Or we decide whether we're going to do it or not. The first Would You Rather is would you rather do a Would You Either?
Or a Would You Rather.
Or a Would You Rather.
Or Would You Rather? What's a rather?
That implies a difference, yeah.
When you have a
that's
house
a
full
good
of
one.
rathers.
That is a good one. I don't know. One thing we haven't talked about in a long time on the show is working out. And part of that is because we finished the big powerlifting thing. Part of it was because we were doing all kinds of crazy stuff this spring, lots of work stuff, whatever, finding ourselves. And part of it is because every time
What are you, a 19-year-old girl?
Every time
I just need to find
Taking
myself.
some me time.
Every time
Not
I
you.
get on...
It's me. I need to find myself.
Every time I get on a big workout kick and I start talking about it on the podcast, there's a couple of people that's the time they need to chime in and be like, hey, let's tone it down a little bit.
not.
But I know there are some people out there
They can suck it.
who want to know what we've been doing because I care so much about it. I'm not going to shut up about it.
It's just like Zoom 10 seconds,
Well,
10 seconds.
or
What we
whatever
did
if you don't
do,
like it.
And it's something
Yes.
we did last year, along with our power lifting meet, usually in February. In May, we have the Murph, which is it's a test of how well your heart and lungs work more than anything else.
Can you
Yeah, no
stay
kidding.
alive?
Think of like tying a bowling ball to your legs and going to the bottom of a pool and just seeing if you can do that for 45 minutes.
That is true.
I
It is
find
insane.
the Murph to be a pull-up contest because I'm 200 pounds. Doing 100 pull-ups at 200 pounds is fairly difficult for me. The rest of it is just waiting on me to do the pull-ups. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never out of breath because I can't do the pull-ups fast enough to make the other stuff hard.
Sure.
I don't know about that.
So what's a
but
Murph?
okay.
Murph is an exercise you do on Memorial Day in remembrance of service members, active and I don't know what the correct term for deceased service members is.
Yeah.
Run a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, run a mile. We did it last year for the first time ever, I think.
Then vomit.
It's typically done with a 20-pound weight vest also, but I don't have a weight vest.
I always
And-
love that, and then you're going to want to tie a child to your back, and, it gets more and more insane.
I was going to say I don't think the 20-pound weight vest would change a lot, but then I thought about the pull-ups. And I was like,
pull-ups,
Pull-ups, yeah.
that would intensely change pull-ups.
It might also make the push-ups hard.
Yeah.
I had the hardest time with the push-ups actually this year. And maybe it's just because I haven't done them since the last
be.
Murph, probably. Right? Like,
You do it once a year.
yeah.
Like-
I do my 200 push-ups, and I'm good for the year.
Yes, but I would say, but your time was this year was half of what you did last year.
That's just because last year was so bad. Like, what was your time last year?
I think the fastest one I did was somewhere in the 30s, but that's when I was doing butterfly, CrossFit, like butterfly kipping pull-ups, and I ripped my hands to shreds.
Ugh.
Yeah, nice.
So this year I did just strict pull-ups. I did 20 sets of 5 strict pull-ups. And I say strict, and I certainly would have been no repped if I was in a CrossFit gym because my elbows were not locking out at the bottom. 100
Was
no
it
reps.
you're supposed to be like straight?
Well, I
Is
mean,
that what
if you were gonna count a strict pull up, right? A pull up is from locked elbows to chin over the bar, right?
God.
Yeah.
In CrossFit, those are the two
Okay.
standards. You go from locked elbows to chin over the bar. Now, how you get from here to there doesn't matter. That's why they do those like gymnastics
like,
ones.
lists,
Those like
yeah.
pull, like jump
Because
up.
all you have to
almost.
do,
Yeah,
exactly.
they swing up.
You just have to have been
That's not
locked
a pull-up,
elbows
though.
to chin over the bar, and so when
Like
I,
those are using totally different muscles when you're swinging your body up and when you're like pulling up.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I cheated a little bit on my pull-ups. You know, they were like,
You just didn't totally. You didn't
no.
dead weight after.
Because-
you know.
because
That would be insane.
it wouldn't have. I think it wouldn't have been in the spirit of the workout, like you said,
To
Ken,
do
right?
strict pull-ups, yeah. It's not.
That's
The,
not.
the
It
workout
wasn't
falls
like about
apart
that.
if you do strict pull-ups.
because
doesn't
it would
work.
take you so long that the whole rest of it would just, unless the whole rest of
Yeah.
it falls apart.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know. Now you said you did pull-ups though.
Well, I did, but my pull-up bar is not high enough. So if I go to locked out elbows, my feet touch the ground.
Okay.
So I went until my feet touched the ground. So probably somewhere like there, right? Like a,
Yeah.
10, 15 degrees off. And I was doing just, the chin was
Chin was as
doing
high
about
as
8
can
inches of
be.
lift,
Yeah.
right? So it was kind of, it was kind of kipping, but
I mean,
I don't know how else you're supposed to do it. You can't do strict pull-ups. But
yeah.
I had a lot more fun this year because I actually had cardiovascular strength because it's more of an endurance thing. Pull-ups aside.
Well, right, yeah, and that was I have been doing so much running because a guy I work with said he was going to do a half marathon, and he was like, "You should do a half marathon with me." And then he was like,
And Ben lost
talking
his
and talking about like
Right.
how he does his running and all this stuff, and I was like, "All right,
Son
fine,
of
I'm
a
up to the
bitch.
challenge. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it."
You
know,
son of a
Destroy you.
bitch.
Are you kidding me?
How
So
dare you?
I signed up for that right before we did the powerlifting meet. So as soon as we finished, I switched to running, and I didn't run much in April because of the startup at work. And so I essentially lost like a month. My goal was to beat my fastest half marathon ever, which was a 7:37, and I came a lot closer than I thought I was gonna, losing a month of training. I ran I wanted to beat a 137, and I ran a 140, which is
dang
like a
good.
740 pace.
Yeah. Man,
Very,
fast.
very proud of that. I was so happy with that. I had 2 miles to go, and this whole thing was such a big question mark. It was months of work, and then a big question mark of like how fast was it going to be, and was I going to be able to do it? And I did all this work, and you're sort of like throughout the training process, you're always kind of like tired because you're always working so hard. It's the same
Sure.
thing with the powerlifting thing. You're never like well rested for your training until you actually do the meet. And it was the same thing for this. It was like, I guess I don't know how fast I can run if I actually have a nice sort of like taper week and I don't drink a bunch of alcohol all week and all this kind of stuff. And I was like at mile 11 of the 13.1, 2 miles to go, something like that. And I was like, I did it. Like, I was like, I can run 2 more miles. I feel fine. Like, it's starting to hurt a little bit.
Wow.
But I was like, I did it. Like, I'm here.
Wow.
I was in the middle of the race, and I was sort of like
That's
on the
good.
pace I wanted to be.
Patting
And I was
yourself
like,
on the back already. Jeez Louise.
I was.
Humility wouldn't hurt.
no, but I was so proud of myself. You know what I
Well
mean?
done.
Like, of all that work.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was just so like, And it gave me the energy to finish strong because there was some guy trying to catch me. And I remember in the last corner, I saw him out of the corner of my eye. And I was like, oh, no. So I had to, like, pick it up. You know, I was running, like, sub-7-ish pace that last, like, half mile because I knew he was back there. And I crossed the finish line. He crossed right after me. And he was like, I almost caught you.
You were his, like, rabbit, essentially. I don't think if you told me right now to run a mile at that pace, just 1 mile.
Yeah, I can't run that fast.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Not for a mile.
Yeah.
Maybe a half.
So,
I could pull off a half.
I could maybe do a half. Even then, we're pushing it.
Well, it's probably been 8 or 9 years since I did my last one. And the biggest difference that I found is that my body is a lot different. I run at a completely different heart rate than I did back then. You know, if I could hold a 170 for the whole race, this time I was a 155, I think, heart rate average. I cannot hold high heart rates anymore. It gives me a horrible stomach ache.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well done, though.
You did
Man, I was pumped. I was so pumped. Now what? I don't know.
Yeah. What now?
Time to go focus back on what really matters. Hitting 1,300 this year.
Getting huge.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Got to get big.
4 foot wide by the 4th of July, right?
Right, we're running out of time.
We are out of time.
We have a couple of weeks there.
2 weeks, basically, to just
I like so much smaller than I was. No kidding. But we did take a couple of trips, right? So we had a long summer trip planned to go visit family, and the weekend before that, Emily planned us another trip.
Yeah, we saw Ryan and Natalie from the Gamecasters and Jeff, the Mad Board Gamer. So we went and hung out at their house, and we stayed the night, and then we went to the zoo the next day with everyone, since all the kids are the same ages.
The Detroit Zoo?
Yeah.
Nice. I like the Detroit Zoo.
Because it's only like 30 minutes from their house. So it was like, well, now's our time while we're like already down there and whatnot. But we only played one game because it was just like kids everywhere the whole time throughout most of it. But the one game we played, we stayed up till like 12:30 playing it. And do you want to explain the game, Ben?
Well, we did play a little bit of tumbling dice as well.
Yeah, but like 15 minutes. I mean, that was kind of like, well, who's down here and wants to throw dice? Like, we never sat down and was like, we're going to play this game. Because there were just so many kids and this and that. And Jeff had his little ones with, so it was like trying to manage that. So, but it was still fun. It's great to see everyone.
Well, and I think what we learned is no matter how bad we might want to, and no matter how much we're all into games, and no matter how many games are available, if we come with the whole family, it's not going to be a game day.
It's not game night, right? Yeah.
And I had a ton of fun once we started playing games. I had a ton of fun before we started playing games. I would have loved to have played more games. I still had a great time, and it was nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
But
it seems like there's a big but. No?
No, I know.
I just reveal. No, okay.
Like always, you're like, oh man, I wish we could play more games, but we didn't, and I still had a great time.
Yeah.
We played. Okay, so the last time we were there, we played the game, or they were here. We played the game, and a game that's very similar to the game is the Mind. In the Mind, you are trying to play cards from your hand in ascending numerical order. But the only thing is, you cannot say anything to each other at all.
Yeah, you just have to kind of, lock
minds. Meld minds.
Have we played this before?
We have not.
No.
I feel like we played something. I'm thinking of.
I was going to say we played something.
It was
similar.
not very good. It was called Medium. And you were just supposed to intently...
the word?
Yeah, you were just supposed to stare at each other and find a word.
It's kind of, it's similar to that, but you have your numbers where someone's like, okay, I have a 5, and you start to go and you're like, okay, nobody else looks stressed, so I'm going to play the 5. And then, so you have to try to get... So I don't remember, is it like 0 to 100?
Yeah, roughly, let's say.
And you only have a few cards, depending on the round, it grows. So at first it's this thing of it could be anything. out of, all of these cards. So you don't know how big of the gap there's going to be. But we essentially just had like the giggles and just stared at each other, and then like someone would lose it. And then we would try to melt minds again.
I got a work email at the exact time you explained this game. What are you trying to do with the numbers?
So there are multiple rounds to the game. You try to see how many rounds you can get past. It's like Skull King. In the first round, you get one card, then two, then three. You get dealt cards. Let's say we're playing 4 people. Everybody has to play all their cards, and they have to play them in the numerical order, except you don't know what anybody else's cards are, and you're not allowed to say anything to each other.
Numerical order. Okay.
And there's a couple of times where if you mess up, you throw away you have so many like oops cards essentially, and you start the round again. I don't know how many you have of those, like 2 or 3 or something.
A little bit of lives you have. I think it's like you have 4 lives.
Is it 4?
You restart that round if you failed. You only get so many. You're trying to, in a 4-player game, you're trying to pass up to round 8.
But I think we got to round 6, right?
Maybe 5 or 6.
5 or
6.
But it was just, of course, when you mess up, you're like, just one more round. Let's just try one more time.
Do it
and it's
time.
like 12:15 a.m.
There was a time. Well, what got us off on the right foot in the very first round of the very first game, it got dealt out like 46, 47, 48. So normally, if you have like 2, and then you have like 55, and then maybe you have 80, and so you play your 2 right away, and then you sort of like wait. You're like, I know 55's not the next one, right, guys? And
you kind
everybody's sort of looking around at each other, and you're waiting for somebody with the 30 to like be like, okay, I guess it's almost like it's really you start reading the table. The more time that passes, there's an imaginary counter that's counting up from the last number.
I guess we're up to 50 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like as soon as somebody plays the 11, the counter begins. 12, 13. That counter starts.
It is true.
And everybody's sort of like waiting.
How high is it going to go?
Yeah.
But it's imaginary, right? Everybody's counting up to their next card in their head, like at a different pace, and you're also just looking at each other. But this is an activity, right? Is this a game? Absolutely not. This is an activity, and it's
like
completely dependent upon the people you're playing with.
Yeah,
yes,
100%. Playing with a guy like Ryan, who's very jovial, very funny, makes this kind of thing fun because
so much fun.
Everybody's trying to make a decision. Right, and this is not going to play well on audio, but on video it might work. He's sort of and he holds up the hand. Says, hold on, and then he puts both hands down on the table, closes his eyes. Let's all just meld our minds. He's expecting everybody to sort of like meditate with him, and then everybody opens their eyes, and he's like, okay, now somebody make a decision. Like none of this is said aloud. You're not allowed to talk during it.
Or someone just looking and being like, ugh, and then we have to meld minds again for a second because someone's like losing it with the giggles.
We came out and saw you guys. I kind of wish we would have played the mind.
That would have been a lot of fun. Yeah.
It would have been so good. It would have been so good.
What you were saying, though, is on the first one, we got like a 45, 46, 47 or whatever in order, and we just played it so easy that we're like, we're pros.
Yeah,
we got this.
Yeah.
So then we kept trying to go farther and farther, but
chasing the perfect high.
It was really fun, but like you said, you have to have the right people. Because I can see some people being like, I just don't get this, and sitting there, so.
Oh, so good. But man, dragging 6 kids around the Detroit Zoo when it was hot, they get so cranky so fast. Dang it, kids, get it together.
That's a big zoo. That's a big zoo,
get it together.
I feel like they actually did pretty good at that zoo. When we were in Minnesota, Calvin did worse.
That's true. That's true. And speaking of Minnesota, we did go to Minnesota. We're in Michigan. Ken's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And we drove all the way there.
Which, for us, if anyone doesn't live here, which a lot of people don't, we went up through the UP, stayed at Ben's parents'.
That is the upper peninsula of Michigan, which is up by Lake Superior. And
then we essentially went across Wisconsin to Minnesota for like another day. So it was a 2 full day drive kind of thing. And I don't like driving. Especially Wisconsin is... there is nothing along that drive that we hit up. It is just
especially
nothing.
if you're coming through the very southern portion of the UP, and there's a lot of like the highways just go right through little towns in there, and they go from 55 to 25 up to 55.
You have to hit 25. Up that like main street, which is like 4 local stores.
I don't know what that's about. Like they need to reroute that there. You have to drive through. I don't know what town that is, but it suddenly it feels like we're just like trapped in this town, and you can't possibly go fast enough.
We had to go to the bathroom, and there are no rest stops. There's like nothing along that area, so. A lot of like, we'll open your door and pee out the side. Is what it was for Calvin.
Is it's rest stops every 30 miles. And
like through the UP, it's good. Yeah.
Oh, you think so?
Once you hit Wisconsin, it is like, sorry, you're on your own.
Yeah, there are none. I don't know if they even have them. I thought that was insane because in the UP, it's like, okay, half an hour. Maybe I can make
it. Yeah.
Because there's no lights. We're probably doing 85 in a 55. And I can make this next rest stop. I don't know if they have rest stops in Wisconsin. And it's this weird.
They do, and they're really shady.
You do
like, have to tic-tac-toe
highways.
There isn't much, though, compared to like our normal stops.
I don't understand why there isn't a route from the UP to Minneapolis, but there isn't. You have to tic-tac-toe through northern Wisconsin, which is just as sparsely populated as the UP.
You'd have to go all the way west over to Duluth. So you'd have to go to the western
you can
point
go
of the
there and then
UP,
down.
Right.
And then come down.
Or you go all the way south to Madison.
College. That's really far south.
But then
Madison's
you start climbing. You have to go back north again. It's not
it's
an efficient
too far
way
south.
to do it.
I used to do to Duluth and then
Madison's
the 2 hours down,
Chicago,
which is a little bit nicer. You do hit up some towns, but the way we went, there was nothing.
I'm just saying if you wanted to hit any sort of freeway.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you either got to go all the way over to Duluth so you can get to I-35, or you got to go all the way down, maybe like Eau Claire or something like that.
Well, you could do that.
That's where we went, essentially.
Yeah.
We had to zigzag.
It's a pain in the ass.
Anyway,
it is a pain.
There wasn't much, so it was a pain. But we got there. And we saw some family. We went to like the little zoos. We saw Ken Brooks and his family.
You guys, I can't believe you came all the way out. It was super awesome. We spent as much time, or Ben and I at least slapped each other on the shoulder at least twice. Hey man, this is great. I wish this was like all there was, right? Just come on over.
I loved your electric bike that you had.
Oh, yeah. Ben, half the time it was always, where's Ben? And then be like, beep, 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 and you're coming down the street.
Ding.
Yeah.
That thing was great. I know. Why'd you have to move, Ken?
Damn it. 30 years of age should look up a little electric bike on Amazon right now.
I'm going to get one. It's
the closest thing you're ever going to get to having a motorcycle, and it hits all the right spots in terms of...
It made me so happy.
Here I am on my hog. I'm only going 15, but I get all the thrill, right?
Right.
It was like that. It's like a safe fantasy is what it was.
It's slower than my road bike.
It fulfills the motorcycle fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
Without like
cheaper,
not getting
safer.
Killed by a
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, it's not a dirt bike.
It was Eric, our other friend, came over and he was like, okay, one ride. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, you know what? Just one more. And then 20 minutes later, before we have to go, I think I'll take it for one more spin.
I think he was just being polite. Like, I mean, he had little babies to take care of. I was like, I'm going to use this thing.
No,
I never wanted to get off.
When you went inside, then he was like, you know what? One more. And he went again, and he kept, everybody enjoyed that.
My brother-in-law, Matt, came over, and he just left with it for I don't know how long. He just said, came back, sort of patted it on the seat like, I'm going to get one of those. I'm gonna have
it was so fun. No, I mean, I had a great time. We got to come see your place out there, see your garage gym. That was the first thing I wanted to see, obviously. And hang out with you guys. It was
Thanks so much for
It was
coming.
bittersweet. It was so good that it was bittersweet, but it was really good to see you.
I agree. We did get to play a game.
We did get to play.
Sort of.
Yes, exactly. And so, speaking of that.
Wow, that was scary.
Why don't we talk about some board games? And actually, we actually have so many games here to talk about, Ken. I think I'm going to get to the games we played with you in a second and run off some of the other games that we've played.
Do you want to just kind of...
I'm just going to kind of follow the list here that Emily has. So, right before we went on our trip, I ordered the Terra Mystica big box because I needed to have Terra Mystica back in my life. On the last podcast that came up, it had arrived since then, and as soon as it showed up, we played Terra Mystica again. And Emily, what do you think about Terra Mystica after all this time?
It's easier and way quicker than I remember. It's very short. In the past, I was like, it's kind of a heavy game, and now I was like, we're done. It is like quick, especially with two people. I think it works pretty good at 2. We only got a chance to play one race. What are they called? One character,
faction, maybe?
Whatever. Each. So there's a bunch of different ones you can try, but I think it works well at 2, and it was quick and fun and good. I, for the most part, remembered everything.
You know, Terra Mystica still has a reputation as being, very highly rated. One of the best games ever.
It is good.
And having played it a lot and then not having played it for a long time and then playing it again,
Were you happy with your purchase?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed at all.
Not at all.
It was still just as like it can be really tricky sometimes, but really hard decisions, but really quick, and I liked it.
I got the big box version that has the expansions and stuff in it, and it's not necessarily like an upgrade from what I had before. I had the game in the first expansion, and I had a couple of game trays, like upgrades for the tokens and stuff previously. I got the only thing I was thinking when I was playing it is like, why in the world did I ever get rid of this? This game is so great. Maybe we're in a better place now where it makes more sense for us to have something like this, where we're not necessarily playing like what I would call medium light games. We sort of like medium heavy games or super light games. That seems to be we'll play light games, we'll play medium heavy games, and this falls right into that category of like it's an hour and a half, 2 hour game.
I don't think it's even that long.
At 2 players it's not. But at more players it would be, and I do still think it's better with more.
I feel like it was 30 minutes, and I looked down, and I'm like, we're on the last round. Like, what the hell? Like, all of a sudden, I was like, I thought this was a long game. I was, like, setting up to do all this stuff, and we were done.
I mean, the nice thing about the big box is it comes with 4 maps, so 2 boards that are double-sided, 4 maps, and both of the expansions. I never played the second expansion, and all I want to do is play all the races on all the maps and explore the expansions. And we're going to, I'm totally looking forward to doing that. I have complete faith that we'll, start playing Terra Mystica again. It's great.
Nice.
Of course, I'm going to drive everyone nuts. Whoever publishes the game, do you remember?
Well, I think originally my copy that I had a long time ago was from Z-Man.
It's not anymore.
Now in the U.S., it's published by Capstone Games.
Yes. So we had some tiles that popped out, like kind of sideways, like it printed wrong. And I contacted them, and they immediately just sent me all the replacements.
Yeah, shout out to Capstone. That was great. Yeah. The last punch board of the expansion punch boards, it was just the punch was off from the art.
Everything just got shifted.
And it's totally usable, but it's just like, it's an expensive thing. It's like $100 for the big box.
Yeah.
So
normally I'd be like, I don't really, it's not a big deal. But considering the price, I was like, it would be nice to not have them sideways. But I contacted them, and they instantly just sent us, and that was awesome. So.
Wow, how do you identify which board you need punch outs for?
They were actually numbered.
Yeah, they were numbered on the
nice.
bottom. So it was very easy for me to say it at least. And then also you can attach pictures just in case so they know.
Wow.
So it was awesome.
It was like merchants and whatever, board 7 out of 7.
Nice.
It's off.
So, but that was really nice. So
yeah, that was great.
Cool.
We've also been continuing to play Ark Nova. We did a little kind of a complete review of Ark Nova a couple of episodes ago, and we've played like 6 times now. And I have to say, and I do. This is a good point to bring up. The last play we had of it was our best one. And I think it's only gotten better as we've gotten better at playing it. And I mean we as in Emily, because I'm not getting any better and she is. It was like Emily. So like Emily says she doesn't like heavy games. What Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you really don't like is learning new hard games. And typically if I could take the rules in a game and then sort of like play at my full capacity, which isn't very much, by the second game, you're running at full speed not until game 4, 5, something like that.
I need to like, it's like when you're learning something, you need to like see it, or you need to like be seen and doing it. I need to do it for a few times before I'm like, okay, I 100%,
I'm the same way. Yeah.
And so for Arc Nova, which is a kind of a complicated game, for games 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it was just like, even when I was making mistakes, it was like, okay, I'm doing well here, and it would be close at the end.
It was always close. It was,
but I would sort of always have you in a position where you're just sort of out of position to finish when I'm ready to finish.
Yeah, I need to like restock on cards, and you have the cards ready to go, and I'm like, well, now there's no way I can like get the cards and play them, and that kind of thing.
But we played twice in a row this week. This last time, so we played and then we played again. And this last game, I was working as hard as I could to just stay in the same ballpark as you. Like you were just like, I felt like you were just like messing with me.
You were very angry throughout part of the game. There were multiple times you're like, are you effing kidding? Like,
you were just messing with me.
But my only issue with this game is it's a little long. By the end, I'm kind of like, I don't even care. Like, someone just finish it.
Yeah,
because
I'm a little.
Well, part of it too is we have to always start late because kids, right?
Sure.
When you have little ones. So if we start at 9 and it's like 11:20 or something, or 11, you're like, I don't care. Just finish it. Do you have something to play? I'll help you out. Like at that point, you're not playing the game. You're just trying to finish the game. And you're like, do you need me to open something up for you? Like, do you want me to help you out there? Because by the end, we're so close, and I don't even care at that point sometimes. I just wish it was like 15 minutes.
I know.
Or like something just a little.
It makes me hesitate to ever play it with 3 or 4 because it's just going to make it longer.
Oh, man.
I mean, maybe during the day, but at night, I could never do that. It would be so long.
Super good game.
It is good. But
so that game was like overly hyped like crazy. Hype. And you know what? It's great. It's really good. It actually is. It's good. It's good. Super good.
Good for them.
Yeah.
All right, Ken. So we did play a game. Now, when we were out there, I took a look at your game shelf, and I kind of already wanted to play Dinosaur World.
You poo-pooed the whole thing. You said, first of all, what the hell is this?
I knew you had a copy of Dinosaur World that was unplayed.
Pile of garbage that you've smeared up against the collection.
It
needs to be cleaned up. That's all.
You have so many more games than I thought.
The funny thing is, you put on Instagram, what should we play? And people were suggesting games that weren't even there, which I thought was funny. They were like, how about Arc Nova? And I'm like, that's not even in the picture.
That's true, but a lot of people, there was really only 2 answers. People said Small World or Dinosaur World.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised they said Small World.
Those were the top ones. But there were a few of like, how about Terra Mystica? And you're like, that's not in the pit. What are you talking about? So
I do like somebody said return to your roots and play Small World, and I was like, you listen to what we say. That's awesome.
That's why I'm surprised somebody said that, because that's somebody who actually listens to the show.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
And so I wasn't even thinking, we're gonna have 4. I was thinking we have 3, so like, we could play something a little bit longer, like Dinosaur World. One thing I would have changed, I knew we would have been tight on time. I do wish maybe we would have played like a Small World or something shorter.
That would have been fun, but we played that so often.
That's true.
That's part of the fun. So I don't know. It was the only time I was ever going to play Dinosaur World. So I was happy to jump on board.
So we did, I stole your rule book. We came back the next day.
That's right.
And we punched it out, and we played half a game of Dinosaur World.
Maybe like a little more than half.
2/3, maybe. That. We were getting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ken, what did you think?
I liked it a lot. We talked about it many shows ago. As it's sort of an improved version of Dinosaur Island, which I think is true. It's definitely, what's the term? Gosh, it's not too many mechanics.
Complicated?
No, it's not too complicated.
Well, no, I don't mean as in too complicated, but if you compare it to Dinosaur Island, if we talk about like the two terms I always like to think of is there's depth of gameplay, which is like how hard can you think about your decisions, right? And the other one is complexity of rules. Those are the two things that games balance.
I think it's got a lot of different symbols.
I don't think it's either
options,
of those.
Almost, where there's just so many options and little symbols that you're kind of like, well, hold up. For the first game or two.
Yeah, it suffers from maybe like choice and option overload, where not all of those feel super important. Some of them feel... I don't know. I mean, we only played it once. We played half a game, so it's really hard to tell.
That's
but
the thing. I feel like you definitely need to play that game at least twice. Like, we played it twice, and I was like, I really like this now. Because the first game was learning, the second game you kind of know what you're doing. I'm sure we would love it
more.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like we talked about it a while ago.
Don't give me the... I don't want to give the wrong impression. I think this game is great. It's a lot on first playthrough, especially having not really played a board game in I don't know how long, right? This is in that medium creeping into heavy territory, just in terms of
I think
options, right? Is this as complex as Feast for Odin? Not quite.
Yeah, Ben is like,
there's just so many. What are you doing? Yeah,
I'm just listening to you.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'll look at you while
I'm trying to articulate. So what's a round?
I can hear you in my head.
Right?
You were like in another world. Like,
there's a few. How many turns are there?
There are 6 rounds. And inside of each round, there's like 5. I think there's 5 phases to a round.
There's too many phases. Let me say that. There's too many phases, and there's too many options in each phase. For a game of this sort of casual, at least at first glance, appears casual, I think there's too many phases and too many options during the phase.
Well, you draft workers, then you do public worker placement actions, then you do private worker placement actions, and then you do your Jeep tour in your park, and then you do a cleanup phase.
So we're at about 11 or 12 actions you do in a round.
It's a lot of stuff each round. Yeah. There's 6 rounds, but you do a lot of stuff each round. Yeah. And so here, here's what I was thinking about is I kind of like having stuff like put in a different situation. We played Dinosaur World a couple of times, and then we talked about how much we liked it because it's much more colorful, it's much more fun, it's much more like cool beautiful. And park feeling than the original. Especially if you play this and then you go back to the original, you're like, ooh.
It's more Dinosaur like interactive. You can do more.
I like how you do more, and I like how you build a park, like physically build a park that you take a tour through. Yeah, I really liked that part of the game a lot. The other one is like the hat shop,
and that's it. Where this one you can like control little details.
And using things more than once makes them bored, and there's all these cool little mechanics that are really fun when you're playing the game. But to take that and then push it, then okay, this is a game I liked, and I remember wasn't. And then put it all of a sudden back in it hasn't been played yet and try to teach it. You're like, wow, wait a second.
It's a lot bigger.
There's a lot going on in this game because there's a lot of phases and all the tiles are different and they have tiny little text and they have a lot of text on them and they do a lot of different things and at the same time you're having to make decisions about, do I even want to get any tiles at all, much less, well, look at how many options, right? At all times, whenever you're going to take a tile, you have the option between 11 different tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have the between 11 or 12 different tiles all the time, and they're all completely different. And so on that first play, you have to be like, this tile does this, this tile does this, this tile does this, this tile does this. And as soon as somebody takes one tile, a new tile comes out, you have to be like, that new, because you can't read it from across the table because the text is so tiny.
And so, a lot of it's symbols, which is a whole different thing. They need to clean up their symbol game.
and I never thought about thinking about a game this way, but this is definitely a game that's never going to go well on the first play. It just can't.
And we had fun. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I still like the game, and I have like a ton of fun. I like teaching a hard game. It's fun.
Yeah, and a lot of the complexity.
You need to play a few times, so.
I'm trying to think of there's 11 tiles to choose from, and tiles interact in ways that aren't apparent right away, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's certain color tiles that's like, okay, well what was that rule about? And
certain workers that work on the tile,
and they do better in certain places. And
exactly. There's so many exceptions.
There's so many little things that if you played it 5 times, I'm sure this game is like fantastic to play.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Though. That's what I'm saying is we had one night to play one game.
Yeah, this was a poor choice for that scenario.
Was a poor choice for that scenario. Exactly, it was a poor choice for that scenario. This is a great game.
Yep.
But if you have one night to play one game, not this game.
One. Nope. Exactly. Go with the classic. Yeah.
But so the other game though that was played at your house a bunch is a classic. Actually, it got wrecked when your basement flooded, right? Is that why it got wrecked? Why did you have to buy another copy of Gubs? Gubs is the game we're talking about.
Yeah, we lost Gubs.
We lost like it was a pet.
We lost Gubs in the flood, which is funny because in game there's an event called Flood, and you lose all your Gubs.
Oh man!
I lost it in the flood. It went out of print since then, or possibly even before then, and it's like a $11 tin game.
Yeah, it's just like a little card, tiny.
It's one of the few games my wife will play, no questions asked. So I had to go.
I thought I heard you say it's her favorite game.
I would say probably, yeah. Well, her favorite game is whatever game she can win at. She is ruthless.
Megan is a good game player once you get past the teach. Like, she is very good at, like...
You know what Megan's really good at is drawful.
Yes.
Because she can make up the words and the sentences where everyone votes for them. And then Megan's like, that's mine. Like, every time. I don't know how she does it.
Well, even when we were playing Dinosaur World, she's like, hey, because she was still, like, learning the rules. She's like, hey, Em, can you check my work? And then she was like, bup, 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 bup. And then she was, like, doing amazing. It's like,
that's a good point.
She just was, like, nervous about it, which I understand. It's a big game to be.
She's not afraid to ask questions if she's not quite understanding what's going on, and she didn't ask a single question, I don't think, which is like,
no.
Man, she was.
And at one time she was like, Ben, don't you need to? And she corrected you.
She was watching me
for doing something.
She was making sure I put my boredom tokens on every time.
That's right.
It was way more than once.
Change that, yeah.
Man, the boredom token. There's so many little things you got to do. So many little things you got to do in that game. But Gubs is a mostly luck based. I don't know what the game mechanic of this
I don't even know
game is. You're collecting a gub is just bug spelled backwards. And so you have a hand, and then you have a play area in front of you, and you have gubs. Gubs are worth points. You can kill them, you can trap them, you can steal them, you can do all these sorts of things. There's a lot of hand trading or events that clear everybody's gubs or certain gubs, all these sorts of, here's a block for that event. The kids love it. It's a pretty kid-friendly game. Playtime is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. Mm-hmm. There's 3 cards in the game that are GUB. Game's over when all 3 get drawn. That's it. So sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 20, but I highly recommend it. It's out of print. You got to go on eBay and pay a fortune for it. But in my case, it adds sentimental value. Yeah. Fantastic cabin game. Yep.
I really actually like that it's not split the deck into 3 parts, shuffle the G into the top third, the U in the middle third, and the B
it could be like
in the bottom
third. You do that, and then you're supposed to shuffle it again, right? You're supposed to shuffle the deck after you do all that.
Oh, the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You could get GUB on the first. Yeah, okay.
Well, when I played, one of the letters was the last card in the entire thing.
Man.
And
that would take a while.
We just happened to shuffle it. But it's still, it's still like 50 minutes, so.
Yeah.
It's good.
Cute little game. I wish they should make it again. It's game right, I think. I want to say.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is that's our primary. I think that's a publisher. That's our target publisher, which is like light
good ones.
kid games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Game Right has.
They have good ones, though.
Typically, they're
I'm trying to think.
They're
what
very
else
good.
We have.
Yeah.
Huh.
We played a game of dice thrown on the deck the other day while the kids were playing in the pool. That game is a blast, and Emily kicked my butt. That's all we're gonna say.
That's
Nice.
true.
The samurai defeated the vampire lord.
I don't think I've played the samurai before, and I enjoyed it, obviously, because I won.
All I'm gonna say is I can't wait for the Marvel Dice Throne to show up.
I was just going to say that. Keep getting these dumb Kickstarter emails. It's like, do not contact me until you give me shipping information. I don't want to hear about it.
Right?
You gotta
Tracking
just
number
ignore those.
or I
Yeah.
don't care.
Or nothing.
But while we were in Minnesota, we did go to a game store, and we picked up 3 games while we were there. We got Circle the Wagons. Well, first we'll go in order. First, we got Circle the Wagons, which is a button shy wallet game. The only other one of those that we have is
Tussy Mussy.
Tussy Mussy. Yeah, the one where you're building the bouquet
Yep.
to give to somebody. In this, so these button shy wallet games, they come in like a wallet-sized thing.
It looks like a 1990s plastic kid wallet that you would have, you know?
Yeah.
You can put like a card and a picture in there kind of thing. I definitely had one of these. But they're awesome because they're so teeny tiny. So you could have 10 games with you and it would take up like a normal wallet size. Like
Right.
It's like nothing. But I've heard good things about Circle the Wagons. I never wanted to pay for shipping. So when I saw it in the store, I grabbed it.
Nice.
I'm very cheap, if you can't tell.
All you got to do to pay for shipping is get $100 worth of games.
Yeah, sorry. That would actually be, for them, they only have so many games that I don't even think you could get to that much on their website. But that game is 10 minutes, maybe?
Something like that.
Super quick and easy. You played it with Olivia in a restaurant, and she picked it up right away, but it was really fun. Like, we played 2 times the other day. It's just like a quick, like, kind of, the back of every card has a goal on it. So the game can be totally different. You have 3 goals, and then you have to lay your cards a certain way. So, like, pictures touch, or colors match, or, you know, whatever the goals are. But for the most part, it's just like a super simple, okay, let's switch it up. Or the goals, okay, we draw cards, and it's really quick.
Yeah, it's quite clever how because the one side of the cards is 4 territories that you're going to like lay out in to try to build like matching colors and stuff, or to follow the rules. The rules, right, are like you said, on the back of the cards, and every card is either, you know, you always draw 3. So, like,
I just like that's always different. So the game's never the same. It's always going to be 3 different goals that you randomly choose.
It's almost like you have 2 decks of cards, a variable rule set, and then the cards you play the game with.
So it's super easy to just set it up, and yeah,
It's fun.
awesome.
I like that one.
It's a good one.
Now, you picked out Circle the Wagons. You also grabbed a game called Stella.
I did.
And I hadn't heard of this. Was not aware of it. Man, I am so glad you picked this up.
So we played Dixit at
Seth's house.
a friend's house. And then I believe it was Tabletop Family on Instagram. They always have really good family and kid games. I believe they were saying they liked Dixit, and then they got Stella, and they liked, like, if they had to pick one, they would pick Stella. And so our daughter Olivia liked Dixit, and so I was like, well, then Stella seems like a better option, because they were saying it's a better family game, which I think it is. And so when we finally saw it, I was like, this is a game I've been looking for. And so we grabbed it really quick.
This is so cool. So it's a 5x3 grid of Dixit cards. So it comes with a bunch of Dixit cards, but you could go buy Dixit and every Dixit expansion if you wanted more Dixit cards. Dixit cards are just cards with like funky artwork on them.
It's kind of like a dream world or a picture, or it's just a random image It could be someone playing a guitar. It could be someone in like space. It could be a dream. It could be a goldfish holding a book. They're just random.
Yeah,
drawings.
they're typically like pretty dreamy and surreal. And
they're
there's
really pretty art. Like it's gorgeous art.
Especially the ones in Stella. Like I haven't seen a lot of other Dixit, but the ones in Stella are like every single one of them is like really cool looking. Mm-hmm. But you put out 15 of these cards, and everybody has a dry erase board that has the 3x5 grid on it. And a word comes out. So there's a deck of word cards in the game, but you could use whatever. You could make up a word. You could go grab a huge stack of words from code names. Do whatever the heck you want. A word comes up. Adventure. Everybody marks down which of the cards that are out remind them of adventure. And what you're trying to do is match other people. So if you have more than 3 people match on it, you'll get 2 points. If you only match one other person on it, you'll get 3 points. But what's interesting is...
Wait, repeat that back? So if you have fewer matches, you get more points?
Yeah, if it's like a one-on-one match, like a trickier match, then you get more points.
Because only me and you thought of that one as adventure, so we get a little bonus.
Yeah.
If it's something that's like
but you do have to get a match. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If it's something that's like obvious and everybody picked it, everybody gets 2 points.
Well, for a second I thought, well, wouldn't you just pick obscure stuff? But other people
No, because if you
need a match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the game comes in, because there is a game to this, because that just sounds like a fun activity. Let's talk about what art reminds us. Where the game comes in, so you secretly mark yours, then you say how many you marked. So I marked 5 and you marked 4 or whatever. If you're the person who marked the most, you have the most potential to score points. But that also comes with a risk. If you ever fall, you're going to score like less points than you would have. Falling is the next part of the game is one at a time in turn order. People say, I marked this card. And you ask, did anybody else mark that? So you would start with the ones that are more obvious because you want to match. Because if you say one and it's radio silence, nobody else matched you on that, you score no more points the rest of the round, even if you matched on other ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the game is not in picking the cards. It's in the order in which you tell people you picked the cards.
You're playing cards. Right, to get matches, essentially.
Like, I picked this one.
Right.
And then...
Yeah, you're like,
nobody says anything?
That's cool. I like that.
But it's easy, because the kids don't have to... You don't have to read. Yeah. You don't have to, like... There's no really tricky things. Even if the kids honestly didn't know what to do, you just pick some pictures that remind you of a word. That's it.
Yep.
So it's really easy.
This is probably the only game I've ever played where I had so much fun playing it with the kids.
Well, and no one stopped to say, well, what do I do for this? Well, how does this work? Well, what do I... Like, you just played on your own without helping the kids in a game, which was really nice.
I was playing with... It was me and all the kids, and we were all playing the game. There was no, nobody needed assistance. Nobody needed to be talked through anything. Yeah. I told them how it worked. They said, okay, and we all played the game, and I was having so much fun, and they were having so much fun. Nice. This is such a good family game. This is the
Stella, huh? Here we go. I'm going to buy a game mid-show.
The only other game I've played with the kids that has been this much fun is Monstrosity. That's the only other game I've played with the kids.
I still can't friggin' find that one.
I should check.
I need a list of unavailable games that I try to buy mid-show.
I think our game store can order it, though. We should just go in there and ask them.
Yeah, we'll have to. But Stella
Stella got her groove back.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. That
also
was so
a
much
good movie.
fun.
No. Yeah, that one was good, though.
So the only game I picked out then, as I looked around and hemmed and hawed over the games at the game store, is, you know what? I have thought about it for a while. I'm going to actually do it. And I picked up Stardew Valley, the board game.
That's right.
So Stardew Valley is a video game. You've played it, Ken, right?
I have a little bit. I am not an expert.
I think this was a game. This was sort of a passion project made by like one guy.
Yeah, it was
made by
maybe one guy. Yeah,
right. And it was sort of in the vein of. I never played any of those. What's that game with Ness? Right.
Or the Nintendo, the island games where you're on the
Animal
island.
Crossing.
Yes, I mean, that's probably not totally accurate, but
it's not that far off.
Combat,
either.
and it's got. I think it's a sort of a social interaction game of all things with NPCs, which is sort of a weird thing because then you got to write a whole bunch of dialogue for different NPCs. And
yeah, it's right. Like it's a farming simulator, and there's fishing, and there's a town full of people, and there's a mine full of monsters and rewards.
Yeah, I don't know how to categorize it, but
I think you're trying to fix up the community center and push out the big box store that's moving into town. And
oh, you're right. Yeah,
but the big thing about the video game, and I'm going to say this because it's contrasts with the board game, so it's important to say is like one of the things about that video game is it's addicting in like a Civilization game is, where you say one more turn, and in the case of Stardew Valley, one more day.
Yeah,
let me wake up one more time, water my plants, harvest what's ripe, go to town, give it to Penny,
sell stuff.
Sell stuff.
Yeah,
go down and go fishing and look for that certain fish that I need to catch for this certain thing, and get and there's like one more turn, because every day your farm gets a little bit bigger. Your relationships with the townspeople get a little more robust. You get a little bit deeper into the mine. You have, a beehive and a silo, and now you have some animals and a coop, and like. And now you're like brewing beer, so you have to grow the certain stuff to brew the beer. There's this sense of progression, that you're constantly climbing towards something to try to like get further and further into the game. Now I haven't played it enough to sort of like get to any sort of end game, and I haven't played this video game in a long time. So the board game takes that theme and applies it to a cooperative board game. And you think about most cooperative board games, let's talk about like Last Bastion and Ghost Stories, or Pandemic, or Spirit Island. You are battling with a puzzle, typically, cooperatively. Well, if I do this and you do that, then we can sort of like stop the growth over here.
Delay it, for a little bit, or whatever it is.
We'll have to see what cards come up and do that. In the board game, you are working together to complete Grandpa's goals. So there's a deck of goals that come out, and these are things like catch a certain number of legendary fish, save up a certain number of gold, make a certain number of friends, whatever. And also, you have to fix up the community center. So there's 6 rooms of the community center that all have their own goals, and these are all hidden from you at the beginning of the game. So then there's different spots on the board where you can take different actions. So, each round a season card will come up, and there's a couple of things that happen, like maybe crops get closer to being picked, or
sometimes there's like a douchey bird that comes and ruins your life.
Yeah, there's like a crow that comes and wrecks things or whatever.
It was like you start with one vegetable, and our first card was the bird comes and rips it apart.
Yeah, on the first card, that sucked.
Screw you. And the next thing was like all your veggies grow like crazy, and you're like, well, they don't, because that stupid bird.
Yeah.
But
right. So all the different things of the video game are different like areas of the board that are connected by these paths. So on your turn, you're going to do 2 actions, either 2 actions in the same place, or you're going to do an action and then move along a path, which allows you to forage something along the way and then do another action. And so you get to plan with the other person what you're going to do. And these are like things from the game. They're like water stuff in your farm, or go to town to buy seeds, or go to town and try to make friends, or go fishing in the multiple fishing spots, go to the mine.
They're very simple.
Go donate stuff to the museum, or get a geode open that you found in the mine, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But essentially what you're trying to do is complete all these goals, and so the course of the game might be like, okay, you need to grow vegetables for two things, because you need to sell them for money, and money is used to get more vegetables, or
one of the goals is money, or
buy, like, building. You need to buy a coop so that you can put animals in it, because you need to make certain animal products. And the thing about the game, the board game is, and I do think it's fun, but having played Stardew Valley, the video game, and then going to play Stardew Valley, the board game, is the big thing about the video game is one more turn. Let me get my farm a little better. Let me get one more day. Let me get my farm a little bigger. Let me meet some more people. Let me go to the mine. Let me get one step. And this is a lot more like a pandemic. Okay, we need to grow these vegetables. We need to meet these goals. We need to have, we need to go make friends to get hearts to reveal the goals, because right now we don't even know what they are.
Huh. Well, I mean, I guess that's the nature of a cooperative game, though, right? If you're going to make it cooperative, they're going to have to change the basic function of the original game, because the original game is very anti-cooperative. Not in like a you're an enemy type of way, but you are alone, right? And you're trying to join this community, essentially.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people said, "Oh, I love that video game. I've been thinking about that board game. How's that board game?" And I would say, I think it's a fun, it's a good kind of relaxing board game. It's still hard.
Yeah.
With the Stardew Valley theme on it, but probably everything you loved about Stardew Valley is not in this board game. Doesn't mean it's not a good board game.
Yeah. I get that.
But it, like the things that made Stardew Valley like almost like addicting and intriguing is like, I like that a board game has this theme. It's sort of like fun and relaxing, the farm and the mine, and I'm going to fish and I'm going to do that. But it's also like, it's kind of hard. It's very random. So a lot of stuff's dependent on dice rolls. A lot of stuff's dependent on drawing from bags. I don't know. What did you think, Em? You haven't played the video game, so I'm curious what you have to say about the board game.
While I'm trying to make a note on other things. I definitely thought it was a little slow at first, but once again, we only played one time. But I haven't played the board game. I thought it was fun, and the theme, I think you would like it more if you've played the game and you like know the people and the theme. Like when characters came out, you like knew them. I didn't. So that's obviously more fun. It is just kind of like a little puzzle game, but it's very light, where it's more of a, I think it'd be more fun by yourself, like a solo kind of.
I was going to ask, is there a better version of this game if it was just one player and it was the video game, put it on cardboard and you sort of just play it by yourself?
Yeah, I can kind of imagine being like, I don't know, it's like a Sunday, and even like while you're watching TV or something, or just kind of like hanging out and just kind of like doing a little bit here and that seems like fun. It was still fun, but I don't know if I'd be like, ooh, tonight we're going to play Stardew. I don't know if I'd like want to get it out compared to other games. That's the only thing. It's definitely like a lazy afternoon game.
It's intentionally not supposed to be super exciting, right? Which sort of makes it difficult to keep pulling it out. Whereas on the video game side, the whole point is like, well, all I'm doing, I'm just ticking up just a little bit, just going up a little bit at a time. And if you got to play it as a group, I don't know if that's a motivating. You need more excitement.
More of a relaxing game.
Okay,
it's like we're hanging out at home and like, we don't want to do like some insane game, and and we just kind of want to hang out and have this fun game. If you were a couple, no kids, no pets, whatever, I think it'd be fun.
You think you'd come back to this, where it just kind of sits on the table?
I think then it would be really fun. I think with kids, I'd be like, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm not going to be like, should we play a little bit Sunday morning? Like, that's not going to happen.
Right. It sort of sounds like this is more just like hey, I got a little extra time. Let's do this.
Don't you think?
Well, we could always play a little bit of this.
You look sad, like I just broke your heart.
No, I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking. What I'm trying to do is come and form an actual opinion on this, and I think I can't yet. I've only played it once.
We do need to play it again.
I had expectations that never would have been met.
Yes.
Because it's not the video game, and so I would like to play it again.
I agree with that.
With different expectations and evaluate it as the board game that it is to determine if I like it or not. Because if you ask me right now, do I like this game and do I recommend it? I would have to say I don't know yet.
I agree. I even thought it was going to have a little more to it like the game. I haven't played the game, but I've seen you play it. I know the game. I thought it was going to be more, I don't know, of that, and it wasn't, so...
This almost sounds like it would make a really good legacy game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Maybe that would make more sense, right? Where, we're going to pick up where we left off. That means the game is much slower, but that is much more in the vein of the source material.
That would be a very different thing, but that would be cool.
Yeah, I would like that. Because it was that thing of we finally got the coop built. Well, for what? So we could get one egg and then we're done? I would much rather be hey, let's get back to it. Ooh, we were at this point. And
man, we've, especially with the legacy, 3-4 plays in. Well, what about the farm? We should probably go back to the farm and work on the farm.
I do wish it was more of that.
There's our pitch.
If anyone's listening.
Either make it a one-player game or a legacy game.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say one more thing about it that I thought was kind of cool. There's lots of different resources, and they have to be organized by season or non-season or mine stuff, and they're all in a certain order and all these things. And it sounds like a ton to deal with, and it comes with an organizer in the box for all these tiles. That's just excellent.
Nice.
It's flat. It's
awesome.
Very flat packs in the box, and
nice.
Then you put the board on top of that, and it holds all the tiles in.
Yes.
It was very well done for an organizer that comes in the box. I would say would. If that wasn't there, I don't know that I would actually want to ever pull this out again.
Yeah, if they were all in bags, that would be a pain.
That's the quality of life stuff where, that it sounds silly, but stuff like that can sometimes really, I'm not going to say make or break a game, but it makes it harder to pull it out sometimes, right?
It gets me to play it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If I can, if I pull on this thing and it sort of unpacks into a little whatever, here's the wheel of resources, but I'll pay the extra $5. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a little bit break. A little bit of a break.
Little bit break.
Right back.
Little bit break.
All right, everybody, pull up your chairs, get comfy, get settled in. It's time to talk about some listeners. Speaking of listeners, we do have a couple of patrons we wanted to shout out. Thank you very much, Phil and Joe, for donating to the show, paying for our hosting fees and our StreamYard fees. We really appreciate that.
Date Night Dice D-list rental fees.
Oh, the D-list rental fees. That's probably what, if I know Phil, that's probably what he's paying for. We got to get a D-list in. He likes the D-list.
We're way backed up. We need to get to work.
All right. And also, it is that listener time where Emily's going to share with us some listener questions.
Woo-woo.
Thanks to everybody for sending in their questions. And Emily, would you like to share the first one, please?
Sure. I'm going to start by saying, usernames, I don't know how to pronounce anything. I'm bad at that. So I'm going to either spell it out or try my best, but I'm sorry. So the first one is from Westy Goggin. This is what I'm talking about.
Westy Goggin.
Isn't that an actor?
Maybe.
Westy Goggin?
David Goggins?
Something.
Stay hard.
Are you talking about Dave?
I'm talking about David Goggins. Stay hard.
Stay hard? He says stay hard?
That's what David Goggins, that's what Goggins says.
Oh, man. All right.
Oofda.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Question is, what are the best board games to play on the airplane? I like the airplane.
I also made that
Hate this
face.
question.
What?
No one likes going on an airplane, period.
About?
So let's pretend that we have a 4-hour, let's pretend a 6-hour flight.
Okay.
What would you bring on the airplane?
On an international flight.
Whatever. What would you bring on an airplane to buy some time?
Gosh, a Nintendo Switch?
Yeah.
Stop. You're ruining it. No.
You got to be able to play it on.
Okay.
You have to have board games.
Get us started here, Em.
Let's say your batteries are dead in your Nintendo Switch, okay? Now, what board game do you pull out? So the game I first said is Tussie Mussy. It is a button-shy game.
Yeah.
It is the wallet size. It's teeny tiny.
Yep.
And honestly, you only play, at the end, you each have like 6 cards, 5 or 6 cards. So you only need those little tray tables. That's all you need for that game.
Takes up very small space.
And it's a very short game. It's like a 5-minute thing. So you can just play a bunch of those. So that's what I said.
Do we need more time? Do we need something that plays longer? This is a long flight.
It's true. I
can't
definitely
play
think there's like rolling
30 rounds
games.
of Tussie Mussy.
Oh, I'm sure there's... What do you want to be rolling dice on a plane?
Well, you'd have to have one a little soft. You'd have to have like a little thing to roll it in.
In that case, I think a game like Welcome 2 would be good to play on a plane. Welcome 2 is a flip and write where you flip out 3 cards, or I don't remember. You flip out some cards, and then you choose a combination of the cards available to mark stuff on your sheet. So each person could have a sheet. You could have a little area where you flip the cards out. But I was thinking also, the first thing that came to my mind is Sushi Go. Because
Me too, for some reason.
It takes up no space.
Yeah.
Even when you're building your sets, let's say you're on your tray table with your sets, you could even stack them up if you absolutely had to.
Yeah, you could very easily do that.
You just hand the cards back and forth. You're not building a tableau. You're not collecting cards to then like put out anything that really takes up any space at all other than a little stack of cards. So
the last game I thought of is Dead Man's Draw, just because you usually only put out so many cards, and then you kind of grab them. I think between the 2 tray tables, you'd be pretty good.
What would be hard about that game would be tracking remember you track your highest number in each of the suits.
Yeah,
you do have quite a bit of a play area in that one for...
Yeah, that one might be a little tricky, but...
You could play Gubs. You could play Gubs for sure.
Oh, I'm sure there's lots of games I'm not thinking of, especially games I don't have a lot of games that would fit.
Well, I was going to say...
Well, the other thing is it's got to fit in your backpack, right? It's basically got to be a deck. A 50, 60 card deck.
You don't want anything with a board or anything where you're building a tableau. You want to be able to pick it up quickly if it's mealtime all of a sudden. We're on a long flight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might need to you might need to slide all that stuff to the side quick. So, main thing I thought though, Tussie Mussy is that would be easy peasy. Tussie Mussy, easy peasy.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of like a patchwork doodle.
No, patchwork doodle, you have to have cards all around.
No, big circle of cards, that doesn't work. Yeah. What about Love Letter?
That would probably work.
That would work.
Okay, we don't have to do this forever. Sorry.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, though.
But button shy games, the Circle the Wagon. It'd
give you time to learn
put
the
out a couple of boards
rules.
between all the tray tables. Hey, do you mind? And you're setting.
That would span rows and rows of tray
The root
tables.
board's pretty small, but then everybody has their own player board and all that stuff.
I'm thinking of what's the other one with the
root board
tree.
is pretty small.
What's the one with
Everdell?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Ma'am, would you mind if we put the tree on
has to stand there
Merchant's
and hold the tree.
You know what would work is Arc Nova because the board is long and skinny. You just put it across 3 tray tables.
If there's 3 of you in a row, you could make. There's so many cards. If that fell, you're done. You are done. 400 cards in the aisle.
What about Steamrollers? I don't remember. I remember liking that game, but I don't remember what it looks like on the table. You could never play Marvel United.
No. Oh my god.
With the circle,
my
the
kitchen
most
table
awkward.
Yeah, I hate the circle layout. Fix that next time.
Does your table fit that?
Oh yeah, you have the circle table. It'd be perfect.
Just barely, but in my case, because I'm playing with 3 kids who can't read and don't care to read, it's all just laid out in front of me, right?
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
The circle doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You definitely have to have the right shaped table. I don't know if our one upstairs would fit. Does that fit?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it just barely
fits. The one
fits.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
You could just, I say, install some board games on an iPad and pass and play.
There you go.
True.
Then you could play anything you wanted.
Yes.
Like Gloomhaven.
That's very true.
Bring 3 iPads.
Yes. That's
Just
very
Play
true.
something. Play a heavy game and just
What's
turn
an
on pass and
iPad
play.
go for? Like, geez.
$1 million? I don't know. I haven't bought an iPad in 10 years.
It does
I've never
seem
bought
like
an
more
iPad.
and more money. It's insane. Okay, the Quirky Meeples said, Ben, what do you do after buying new games to ensure that Emily won't be mad at you?
There's nothing I can do. Emily will get mad at me if I buy games. This is just... Once I've accepted that, then I can buy games because...
I think the main thing is you have to make sure that game turns out good because otherwise I'll be extra mad.
Yeah.
And this is why I am sweating bullets teaching Emily a game the first time.
That is true. He's like,
Literally.
Okay. So then he's like wiping and I'm just sitting there with like a grumpy face and I'm like,
Why are you
And
so
how much
grumpy?
was this? Yeah.
Exactly what Ken said, because it's something where I'm like, man, it's like I really wish I could buy, I don't even know, a laundry basket. They're like $5. And then Ben comes home and he's like, well, I don't know how this got in the car, but like somehow
But
this
it did.
$200 worth of board game. And you're like, how convenient.
It's 10 laundry baskets. Listen, all I think is that we don't need an extra laundry basket. Instead, we could get this board game.
That's what it's like.
What I have found to help with this problem is not buy so many games.
Yeah.
The actual answer to the problem is be reasonable. Buy a board game once in a while that you've thought hard about. And I have found it's okay to take a gamble. Like, it's okay to get a game and be like, maybe we will like this.
Just don't. There's been times where you've gotten something that I go, why would you buy this? Because it's very obvious I would not like it.
In those cases, it's probably something I really wanted to play.
But then nobody plays it because...
I know.
Okay. I think the main thing is make sure the game is going to like be a hit in the end.
It's like the thing that's going to cause a problem is it's not like getting a game and making sure Emily doesn't get mad. It's just being reasonable with the amount of games I'm getting so that there's no reason to get mad. That's the actual answer to that question.
That would be the best. Okay. Mr. _ Amadeus, right? Yeah.
Looks like Amadeus.
Sure.
Whoa, Amadeus.
Recommendations to share with the wife. Okay, so he had a longer thing. He said she only has played classic games like Monopoly, Clue, those kind of ones. Yeah. He's into cooperative games, Arcadia Quest, Pandemic. She's really competitive. Ooh. And they're looking to branch out and find some new games that they can both enjoy.
Got an answer, but I can't remember what the name of the game is.
What do you do in it?
Yeah.
What was the penny arcade one where you go down, and you run around? Clank.
Yeah.
It's sort of cooperative. It's sort of competitive. It's lightweight enough to where I don't think she'll be turned off by it. It'll, I would say Clank.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I do kind of like the idea of the Clank Legacy, especially where
Clank Legacy specifically
the Legacy version, because if you like cooperative, you're going on this adventure together. If she likes competitive, every gameplay session is competitive. So you're
it's a little bit both.
Sort of doing it. That's a very good answer, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Clank Legacy, get it.
Chronicles of Crime
fun.
Is not Legacy, is cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Any unlocks or exits are cooperative if you just want to start with that. But I also wrote down Onitama is super quick and easy, where you can do let's do 3 out of 5 or whatever. So it's competitive, but it's not this it took us 2 hours to get to the end. And that one's a fun, simple, you can throw it out on the table quick. I think a medium, I don't know, is it medium weight? Quacks of Quedlinburg? Mm-hmm. That one's a good, bump up game, but there's some randomness to it in some ways where I feel like you can't be too competitive because it's like you randomly draw things out of your bag.
Yeah.
So you can't get like mad about, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. You just said the point I was going to make to sort of back up your choice there.
Okay.
The nice thing about Quacks with, like, let's say an inexperienced gamer is exactly that. There are certainly strategies you can employ to play the game. You can buy certain things, upgrade a certain way, but at the end of the day, it's a push your luck game, and you feel like you're fighting the game. You're not fighting each other. So it's good for not it's a good introductory thing for not getting feelings hurt because you're like fighting against the bag draw. I built the probability of my bag to be great, and it is not cooperating with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good step up game that you can't get too mad about.
I would say I'm not the best to talk about cooperative games. I love Spirit Island, but I think that's a little too heavy for this situation.
That's too heavy for...
You say you like Pandemic. Okay, play... if she doesn't want to sit down and play a session of Pandemic, maybe Pandemic Legacy is the way to go. Where maybe the story of Pandemic Legacy would be fun. But if she really doesn't want to play cooperative games, I think Ken's answer is better. Clank Legacy is a better option there.
Clank Legacy is a really good one.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of anything that'll scratch that competitive but also cooperative itch. And we've played a few. I mean, this is really heavy. I only know 5 games. Rising Sun can be competitive and cooperative.
Oof.
Yeah, if you're going to pull in some other people, or at least another person.
Yeah.
The other one I thought of, if you want to work together, is Codenames Duet. That game's
there you go.
So
That's
much
a good
fun.
One.
That one's it's like a party game for 2 people, is what I would describe it as. So you're working together. It's a fun, light, party-ish game, but it's just the 2 of you. So if you just want to have a fun, goofy night, Codenames Duet.
Yeah, I think that's a very good option.
Ken, I think you and Megan would like that one. That one's good.
We played Codenames over Christmas, I think, and I should get it because she liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, if she likes the regular Codenames, the one where you're trying to work together is really fun.
I think we had extended family member say Duet was not good. But
Duet is excellent.
I could be wrong. I could be misremembering.
Codenames Duet is amazing. It's very difficult, and that's kind of what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're limited on the number of guesses you can make. So you have to be good with your clues. Normal Codenames, all you have to do is beat the other team. In Duet, you have to finish in a certain number of guesses.
Wow. Okay. Let's get it.
And there's a little mini campaign where it's you get more guesses, but you can make less mistakes, or you can make more mistakes, but you get less guesses. There's a little thing you go through. It's kind of fun. I would fall on my staples for couples games in this case. Seven Wonders Duel, is just so good that if you want to just play with a wife, I
don't know if you'd throw that one out after Monopoly though.
I think you could because it's not very complicated in the rules. It's just you're just.
I think that's you thinking from someone who's played a ton of games. If I had just played Monopoly and Clue, and someone was like, "Here's this game," I might be like, "I don't quite understand." I'm not saying it's super complicated, but I wouldn't make that my next game. Mm-hmm. That's how you ruin a game: is throwing out one that's too far ahead.
What about something like a Wingspan?
I do think Wingspan's good.
A little too complex, though.
It might be a little bit.
I was going to say it's not going to scratch the cooperative itch, but what about a summer camp, which you can pull off the same shelf as Monopoly?
That is true.
Super easy, but has sort of the deck mechanics and some of the...
That's true.
Little different from a classic Hasbro.
That is true. That one is just a little more to it.
$25.
And then you want to say, now that we know deck building, let's go play Clank Legacy.
Whoa.
Yeah. There you go.
That's true.
Summer Camp and Clank Legacy. That's the one.
Okay. B deck 15.
B deck.
I don't know.
A dick.
It might be
It's a big deck.
Ugh.
A big
I
deck.
think he's Australian. It's a big dick.
Dick.
There you go. That's how you say it. He said, "Are you ever going to run down a top 10 of the games you own?" We could do that sometime.
That would be cool.
Do you think you could pick just 10?
We'll squeeze that one in on another one where Ken can't make it. And then we'll just do our top 10.
Games,
yeah.
So.
Ken's top 1.
You've got 10 games.
Yeah, but that's a rundown of the top 10 games.
No, I think it would be fun. I do think it would be fun to start doing maybe some lists because I like people going through lists. I don't know why. I just absolutely do.
I'm with you.
If I had to narrow it down to 10, that would be tricky. I think I could do it, but that would be tricky.
I could do 10. The order is killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can probably list off 10 right now in no particular order.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Well, let's do it. We'll do this.
that.
We'll definitely do this.
Mine will be the lightweight version because I don't go any higher than medium weight.
And then our last one is from Nico4474.
You go.
Favorite and least favorite game mechanic. Now, did I do this one another time?
Maybe somebody else asked this question.
Okay, because...
Feels familiar.
I have a list of ones that... So if anyone's like, wow, they still didn't say my question, I have a list that I add to, and I try to mark.
So organized.
Yeah.
But then I was like, did I not mark this one? Because it sounded very familiar.
Well, let's just answer it quickly, because we have discussed this before. My favorite game mechanic is deck building or... anything similar to that. You think of like a Concordia or a Century Spice Road where you're building a hand. Same thing. I like that just as much as building a deck.
We talked about this with Century Spice.
That's my favorite thing to do. I love to build a little tiny machine that I'm going to try to run, and it's...
What's your least?
Let me think about that for a minute. You guys have a favorite?
I said worker placement just because I like when you can kind of get in each other's way a little bit, like when you're stealing a spot. But it's not so much that you're like ruining someone's game. I like that, like you kind of half get in each other's way. I wrote for sometimes dice rolling in games. I don't like that my game is determined on my dice rolling. It's not like how clever I played the game. It's like, are you good at rolling dice? Because I'm not. I'm
How
legit
clever.
not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm somehow bad at rolling dice. It's a thing. And you know this. It's like a family trait. Can't roll dice.
Ken?
I don't know. I don't know enough about game mechanics. Deck building has certainly grown on me the most in terms of, well, we don't do it so much anymore, but at first I was like, I didn't understand deck building, or I didn't quite. The difficulty in deck building is you got to play the game multiple times, I think, to understand what's in there. But then, boy, it becomes like a whole different thing once you've seen the cards and you know how the game works, and you sort of. So I would say that's my favorite. Without it, I don't know enough about game mechanics. Worker placement can be fun, but it can also be tedious sometimes if you're getting screwed over and over, or you don't. Worker placement's hard on the first playthrough, especially because you just don't know what's important in a game on the first play. But
here's my least
dice rolling
favorite.
sucks most of the time.
My least favorite game mechanism
Unless it's strike.
is games that have decks of cards that score you, that like are goals that score you points that you can draw throughout the game, including the end. I'm thinking of.
Oh, you don't like those?
Takinoko. I'm thinking of Hallertau. I love the game Hallertau, but I hate this part of that game.
I do kind of.
There's an entire deck in that. There's 4 decks of cards in that game you can draw from. They all do different things. One of those decks is point scoring goals.
Why do you hate that?
Because I like working towards a goal. I like getting all my goal cards up front. Think about an Arc Nova. You get 2 of them up front. Halfway through the game, you're going to have to discard one of those
Wingspan
and hold on to Wingspan. You see what the goals are going to be.
I do agree.
I don't like games where your goals are given to you throughout the game, or even worse, that's actually fine. If there's triggers throughout the game where I'm going to be given more goals, totally fine. But like Obsession, Hallertau, Takinoko, these games where you have to actively choose Obsession didn't have this, but you choose to draw more goal cards, hoping that you just luck into one that you've already built your thing to do.
I think it is more of the like luck, because you could be like winning for a game and then someone's like, oh, I just happened to draw this, which worked out. And you're like, well, F you. Like, you didn't even do anything. You just had like that.
Like, we could, let's say we both played the game equally well, and at the end of the game, we each took an action to draw a point card from the deck, and you drew one that worked with what you'd built, and I drew one that didn't, and you win because of that.
Yeah,
it's like,
I understand.
Then what the heck was the whole rest of the game for?
Yeah, I get that. Obsession does have that, where at the end they're like, hey,
that's true.
Gets the most points.
And like I said, it doesn't make me not like the game. Like, I love Hallertau.
It certainly makes it tough, right?
It does make it tough.
I don't mind that mechanic because it's a luck element without being a dice roll. I mean, I guess it kind of define dice roll, but I don't know. There are ways. I'm thinking of like Ticket to Ride, where we know there are certain routes that are not board game based, but reality based, like Chicago to DC. I know that's a hot track, right? That's a real life thing I can sort of predict.
Yeah.
So no, you're exactly. I like Ticket to Ride. I hate that part of Ticket to Ride that you draw ticket cards throughout the course of the game. And when I play the game, I use that as a strategy. Like, I typically draw a lot of ticket cards, especially playing in like a family game. You know, like a game. I think if you play with some real, like Ticket to Ride is super high level, there's probably a lot more of that going on, and they like know what ticket cards are in the deck, and they can see where you're building. There's all kinds of like high level.
Like every other turn.
I do draw a lot of tickets, but I hate that I have to do it. It's very stressful for me.
You're just stressed by it.
I just want to have the stuff I need to build towards throughout the game just up front. I don't want to have to like. I don't want to have to decide to find out more information.
You don't like having to stick a stick in your own bicycle and then recover from it? I find that exciting. I don't know. I like that element.
I don't know.
Okay. That's fair.
Well, Ken.
There's nothing in my kitchen. Move on.
Damn it.
Come on. All Ken's kitchen, it's Ken's, it's just, what have you been up to? What do you got going on?
Have you done any house projects? You got any tips, tricks?
I can tell you right now, don't get a quote on a bathroom remodel. Just go buy an Escalade. You'll be better off. I don't know.
What was the quote? Can you tell us the quote?
Sure. Anywhere from, so we were talking about doing it's a shower with a tub in it, and I would like to do a shower with a sliding glass door. So no tub.
Okay.
It's called a tub to shower conversion, apparently. Excuse me. And then at the top of the quote list is, okay, well, we're going to do that, and we're going to redo the floor. New double vanity. We're going to go all in.
Yeah, all out, like a Home Depot commercial.
Right, down to the studs. Just clear it all out. Minimum for the shower alone, what do you guys think it costs to do a
this is like a
shower? Right.
$8,000.
No, I bet it's more. 15.
It's $20,000.
Holy shit.
Now, part of that is because you guys live in Midland and we live in the Twin Cities, right?
Right, that is true.
In Midland, you guys are probably about right on the money.
Which is still that's about $15,000 more than I want to pay for my $15,000. Like, I don't want to pay that much at all.
But then, top of the line, top end, we had a guy quote $42,000 for a full bathroom.
What?
Are you insane?
That should be like my whole house reno right there.
Well, it's like,
that's
more, a bathroom.
In
why
a bathroom?
Why?
What are you putting in, like crystal? Like,
I don't know. I don't know what he quoted me for. It doesn't matter. I'm not buying it.
Like, that's insane.
That's somebody who's already booked out, and the only way he'll get your time is if you pay him more than somebody else.
He bid himself out of that job, basically, on purpose.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, and again, he's like, if anything, the idiot says yes, and then I get to do a bathroom.
Because, some desperate person who's got the money wants their bathroom now.
Right.
That's so crazy.
That's all I got. I don't know. We're so
I never know for remodel things where I'm like, I don't know, is this good?
Right.
I have no idea. I just know that I don't want to pay it, so it always seems like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you guys tell me, because I, again, haven't been watching anything lately, though I really want to watch the new season of Stranger Things.
Oh, man, I didn't type that in. All right. You want to talk about it real quick?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat a
Zero
Starburst.
spoilers.
I'm going to eat a Starburst, and then you guys are going to tell me about TV shows.
You want to go first, Tim?
Is this like a time limit? Okay, he's eating the Starburst, so I guess go for it. You go, Ken.
Okay, Stranger Things Season 4, Part 1. Big asterisk.
So they essentially like Lord of the Ring or Harry Potter, whatever you want to call it.
You get 7 episodes.
Okay.
Slow start. Boy, do they slam dunk it at the end.
Okay, that's what I've heard.
First 4 episodes, it's kind of like, did they lose the magic? Where's this going?
And then
bang, bang, bang. Just like everything.
Makes sense.
Well, because the first 4 episodes they don't make sense in the larger Stranger Things picture.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Necessarily.
Man,
and you're like,
really
are we just going to do this forever? We're just going to sort of, this town is just going to be tortured forever. And then everything gets tied in. I think this might be the final season. I don't know if they've announced that yet, but I think
that they're
feels like
making it work.
Yeah, it's really good. It's got.
We haven't watched it, and so I've been every time like anything comes up with them, like I can't look, like don't nobody spoil it for me.
Well, they
I don't
split
wanna,
it. So the second part comes somewhere in July. So you guys got to watch it before that stuff comes out.
We need to catch up. We haven't watched any TV together in like
months.
I don't even know the last time we sat down to watch TV. And even when I'm watching TV, I'm not sitting down and watching TV. It's like, well, I have a little laundry to do. Maybe I can get 10 minutes at I haven't actually had a night where I'm like, well, I got nothing to do. What should we do? Like that. It's been total chaos. So I haven't. Yeah. I'm very excited for this. So
now you got me even more excited.
You gotta muscle through it in the beginning though.
Okay.
Also, the kids. I mean, everybody. Any review you read will say this. The kids are like 45 now, so you just got to deal with the fact that they're like hulking teenagers,
so
right?
Because when they started, they were like babies. And I feel like I'm 100 now because they're adults or like our age somehow. And so
they're mid-20s. No, I would guess.
That's insane though.
Well, and they have
like
funny flashbacks where like, oh, it's these two like they were at the roller rink and they look 11. And now they look 27, and it's
God.
like
I
think they're supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be 15.
High school? Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah. So just get
all I
past
know
that.
from the new season is that Kate Bush song.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh man, and that
I don't.
This one.
You'll get it. Running up that hill.
Running up that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all over the radio because it's very, the best episode has that song.
Okay, so the first time
prominently
I heard something with this song and I was like, oh, it's that old. First of all, I know the song just from like, that song when we were little. Like I just knew the song. And so then I feel really old when someone's like, no, we're reusing that and it's not. Yeah, that song used to be on the radio.
Well, I mean, Stranger Things is set in,
it's like when we were kids.
Right before we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel really old when they're like flashing back to it. And I'm like, yeah, that's like a song that I know. Like, I don't want that.
Oops, that's my book.
You're just playing things. What if we got like in trouble for this? Yeah, we're going to get screwed.
Don't you get 7 seconds?
Don't do any more.
I think it's 15, but yeah.
Let's push it.
That's when you sample it. You have to transform it. That's the copyright law. That's why T-Pain can just
do whatever,
grab whatever he needs and make a new song out of it. Got to be transformative.
Well, the only thing I watched is The Flight Attendant season 2 on HBO. And if you watch the first one, it's the second season is the same sort of vibe, and it's like the character going through the development. But there's like crazy shit happening and you're trying to solve a mystery. And I find it super entertaining. It's like a little mystery each episode until the very end, and I liked it. It's good.
Been running up that hill. I got that. Now I got it stuck in my head.
I know. I'm sorry. But you don't necessarily have to watch season 1, but it would help. But I find season 1 and season 2 both fantastic. It's also really nice to not have something super dramatic and like hard. Like there's so many shows that are either super realistic and like really intense, or it's like a weird comedy with a laugh track. This is like in between. It's like a goofy kind of mystery spy, but some serious things, and so I like it.
All right. Is there anything else you've been watching, Ken?
Oh.
Yeah, real quick. Our Flag Means Death on HBO, which is a comedy.
Fantastic.
It again, you got to get to episode 4.
Yeah, you have to get through the first 3 or 4.
Which is weird because the show is so much more like cohesive once you get there.
I think at first you just don't really know. You're like, is this supposed to be goofy? Is this supposed to be fun?
It's weird.
It's kind of sad.
What am I supposed to think at first? And then by episode 3 or 4, you're like, oh, I got the...
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
I got the rhythm. I understand. And all of a sudden, I know everyone, and I'm like on a ship, and I'm having a blast.
He's a gentleman pirate.
Man, I
super
love
fun.
That show so
super fun,
much.
super funny.
I'm so excited to watch it.
It was really good. I like watching this show because what's his name? Taika Waititi is obviously super funny, but then he was in that stupid movie Free Guy, which was better than I thought it was, but he was horrendous in that movie on purpose.
Yeah.
He was insufferable. And
He was bad in that.
very good in this.
Him and
I just love the main character.
What is his name?
Rhys Darby.
He's so New Zealandy.
He is.
I just love the way he's like, their accents and everything, and the humor in that show is like, if someone was like, what do you think's funny? I'd be like, just watch a show, and here we go.
Here's
like,
a whole bunch of really weird, awkward situations. And
I love that show so much.
yeah. Other than that, though, wife and I had a date night. We saw Top Gun Maverick.
Woo!
You know, I'm not going to bash Tom Hanks. Go back a few, Tom Cruise. Go back a few episodes and hear me rant about Tom Cruise.
Well, I mean, after The Mummy, we like had a little.
Top Gun Maverick is a excellent movie. An excellent movie. It is. You know when you see like previews and it's like edge of your seat action.
And you're like,
This is like actually like where I was holding Megan's hand and you could feel her tighten her hand on mine.
Whoa!
Like
that's what I've heard. Everyone is saying it's like is really, really good.
It's super duper good, and it's not like, hey, check out how cool Tom Cruise is. It is a character drama about him and his sort of girlfriend and these pilots, and then they have this action aspect of them trying to complete this mission where the mission is explained very clearly. It's explained very clearly why it's so difficult. They do all these training missions where they cannot do what they need to do. And so you get, it really is like I'm holding on to the armrests as you see, like, what's his name? Miles Teller is in it. You know, they're having somebody else fly the plane, but they're actually in there to get the footage, and you're just watching this actor's face melt.
Oh my gosh!
As he's, you know, I don't know how many G's it really was. Probably 1, 2, 2.5, or something like that. But in the movie, it's 10 G's, which is like, I'm pretty sure you die at 10 G's. I don't know.
Right? You're like skin is ripping off your face.
Right.
I don't know. What do they experience when the rockets take off? I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
I mean, you got.
I get sick like standing up too fast.
But a rocket.
That's not me.
You got G's on the chest, right?
Yeah.
If you're pulling up in a jet,
Ugh.
G's are straight down.
This is like making me sick thinking about
right?
it. Like I'm honestly.
Maybe you might not like it then because so much of it is just watching dudes like.
I could probably like my stomach like hurts right now. This may.
Oh no!
I don't.
It's a super great movie though.
Okay, that's on the list.
I really highly recommend it, and I think you should probably see it in theaters because you need the audio
like
and the big screen and it's cool. Yeah. It's really cool.
To see that. Also, that Buzz Lightyear movie's coming out.
Man, I want to see
and
that,
I want to see that, too. That comes out tomorrow, I think.
Since we're on it, interesting tidbit. I figured this out today. I was trying to figure out, okay, is this movie the origin of the action figure? That was my assumption, right? He's a real life astronaut.
Like they make, they make the action
like this
figure.
Was this. I'm assuming this was the movie that everybody watched, and they went out and bought the toy.
Oh.
That is the actual.
Oh, okay.
So this movie is a movie from Andy's world from Toy Story. Yeah. Andy went and saw this movie and then went and bought the Buzz
toy. They made
that's what I thought it was.
But it's not a real Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, you're thinking like they make action figures based off of like this guy who actually went into space, and they're like, look, now you can have like the toy, you know.
Oh, like in Andy's world, there's a Buzz, there's a
real
ranger?
Buzz who goes into space, and then everyone makes toys based off of like the real person, you know.
From what I understand,
if this actually, but that also wouldn't make sense because there's like robot cats, and it's not like Andy had like
and there's
toys.
like that's true. The Lord Zod or whatever the heck his name is.
Well, I mean, it's a space fantasy. Sorry if I.
Bud, you're. Yeah.
When you say it like that, like with the cat and the robots and stuff, though, that makes way more sense because it's like 1994 or whatever. He saw this insane
Remember, Andy
movie.
was like playing with a flippin' piggy bank as like one of his toys. You go back and
you watch Andy in that first Toy Story.
When he's like...
That's nightmare shit. Looking. He like, he really like 3Ds.
He's always like, hey, but like the way he moves and his knees are always bent when he's walking. Like it's his so weird that you're like, whoa.
It's just a smooth balloon over like a skull.
It is very frightening. I just remember how good we thought it looked, and then when you watched it with like our kids, and you're like, "Wow, is this not the right version, or am I not quite
like a weird marionette child?"
It was like that, but then you watch the new ones, and you're like, "Wow, it looks gorgeous."
Yeah.
And in 20 years, is it going to also be like, "Yikes, what was happening?"
I don't know.
Oof, but okay. Did you want to talk about video games now?
Yeah, I do want to touch on a video game at least. So we finished the main story of Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
That is true.
And then it opens up to the essentially just like gauntlets that you can play, that you can get to the level cap and level up your gear, and then you can crank up the difficulty on the gauntlets and get better gear and stuff. And
it was a lot
cool
shorter
that you don't
than
have to replay the main game though.
No, there didn't seem to actually be a way to do that. Yeah.
But I like that because so many times it's like I don't want to do new game plus.
I agree. I didn't want a new game plus this game, but I wouldn't mind getting in there and playing a few. They were hard, like playing a few gauntlets that are tough and.
Okay.
Yeah.
That game was fine. I don't think it was as good as Borderlands. It was fine.
Not at all. It was definitely way shorter, and it was way easier than most Borderlands. So,
but we did find something to play together. So this is couch co-op, a game called Young Souls, and it's a brother and sister. And it doesn't matter what the story is. It's a side scroller, beat 'em up. Mixed with
that's right. I watched you guys play.
Yeah. It's
we're real bad. So.
It's very
there was
hard.
Also a lot of text in the beginning, and I was like, okay, when are we gonna watch the game?
The first 30 minutes is like a novel, and then once you get past that, you can actually just play. But at first, it was like, holy.
Well, and I wonder if we should go in and change the difficulty if it's possible to like normal. Because when we went to start the game, it was like you should put this on hard. It's more rewarding, and we're like, we can do hard stuff.
We can.
And it's more like it's more like a Dark Souls than a side scroller. It's not like normally a side scroller is you beat up tons of guys, along the way, and hopefully you eat some chickens and you've got enough health, like thinking Streets of Rage, to like then fight do a couple specials and fight the boss. This is the random enemies or whatever. And then you get to the boss, and bosses can like one or two shot you. At least that's been our experience so far. And you have to land like you either have to dodge their attacks somehow. You have a dodge, you have a roll like Dark Souls, and you also have a block and a parry. And our strategy so far is parry their attacks, but like each boss has a different amount of parries you have to land before they're staggered. Like normal enemies, if you parry them, they're like staggered immediately, and bosses are like resistant, so you have to like parry them like sometimes 4 times before they're staggered, and then you like, get some hits on there.
I don't know.
It's like I really like this game a lot. It's super, super hard. You know, kind of rolls out like new gear, and you have like a headpiece, a chest piece. I think you have shoes. You have 2 hands, so you can have a shield and a weapon, or you can have a 2-handed weapon, and then those weapons can have special abilities on them. Like I got these daggers that are 2-handed, so I don't have a shield anymore. But if I build up my special meter, then I can summon spiders, and they like poison them.
Whoa!
Like they're like now I have like 2 spiders on our team that are like running around. It's really cool. I just, you know, we have had 2 different instances where we fought a boss for an hour.
Yeah.
Like literally an hour.
Gosh.
It's not like, oh, it's a little hard. It's where we're like, I don't know how we're going to get past this. Like, we've been sitting here forever, and we cannot.
Well, it sucks. Like, it'll be like a 5-minute fight, and it's like, I'll land like 20 parries and then miss one, and then we die.
And then we're done.
Right.
You know, because the bosses can like one-shot you.
Yeah, you do one wrong move and you're done. So.
And I don't know if we're just doing something wrong, or we're in an area we shouldn't be, or we didn't level up the right things. Like maybe we're supposed to have better armor, or we're supposed to go to the shop and upgrade it. I don't know. There's like a way, you know, but there's like it's very Elden Ringy. You can get armor, you can upgrade it. There's like a blacksmith, and there's there's health potions, but they're consumable. And then if you want health potions, you got to go buy more.
Oh man.
It's crazy. And then it's very 2-playery. Like if you consume a health potion while you're standing on the other player, then you both get the effects of it. And you can like do this tag move where you like, I think if you were playing by yourself, you would tag in and out because each person has their own health bar. But with 2 players, you're both on the screen at the same time. And you can just like essentially like do an attack where you land where the other person is. But then when each player has 1 life, like 1 extra life. So if you die, you can be revived. You got to go over there and like mash the B button as fast as you can. We're not very far into it. I really like it. Like if Emily was ever like, let's play Young Souls, I'd be like, yes, absolutely, right now, let's go. And
it's a fun game, but when the bosses take, like when we can't beat after a while, it's to the point that I want to be like, I don't know what to do. Like this is just getting, it's rough at that point. So
I get that.
All right, Ken. Any exciting video games?
No, nothing.
Well, you know what that means then.
Yeah.
We've all been like really boring.
You guys. It's that time of the show.
Feed the ducks. Time to feed the ducks.
Time to feed the ducks.
Would you either?
Would you either?
Wait, am I supposed to have one?
Always. I will go first. Would you either never play a board game again or never play a video game again?
Easy for me. Gotta keep my video games. Gotta have them.
Board games are getting the cut.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Video games are
you would say that.
Video games are a personal escape, right?
Boy,
right now, board games are a personal chore to walk my kids through them.
Well, you don't have people to play with, and
ask me again in a couple of years, it might be totally different.
Emily?
Well, I think I'm gonna have to keep board games, but that's just really sad because I also like video games.
Oh, I know this one sucks.
But I have to keep board games.
I love board games, but I would pick video games.
Oh my gosh!
Really? Wow.
What kind of psychopath? Are you serious?
I think it's because I love board games. We love playing board games together.
Well, not anymore.
But like Ken said, video games are like it's that time where you just like you have that alone time. Like this is what I do. I can always do just by myself.
Yeah.
And board games sometimes it's like hard to get somebody else to play it with you. You always I don't want to play a solo board game.
No.
And the big advantage, the great thing about board games is always getting to play them with people. I love that the activity that I do with friends is play board games, because I love board games and I love hanging out with my friends, and I really like those two things together. But I can't always do that whenever I want to. You know, where video games is always like, there's always new cool stuff coming out, and I can sometimes do that with friends. I can sometimes do that by myself. You know, there's more options in the video game world that I feel like if I only had board games, I would be missing out more.
I think there's more options in the video game world than board games.
Yes.
I feel like the video games are pretty standard, like what they're like. Because kind of like if someone said 1 through 10, I think you could fit video games and all that compared to board games.
That's true. They're not as innovative.
Yeah.
That's true.
Most video games, you're like, well, this is just like this game.
Look, it's not like it's an easy choice, but if I had to pick one.
I just don't think that's your reasoning. Because they're so wild, my mind is blown. Like, no, they're pretty standard. Like, you're never playing a new game that you can pick that. I'm just saying, you're never playing a new game that you're like, what is this feature? Like,
That's
they're
true.
pretty standard.
That's true. Where sometimes board games have been like, whoa.
Yeah,
I think that's true only of video games in the past 5-10 years.
Yeah.
I think they've gotten really lazy.
Yeah, they are kind of all
making.
like, it's A,
And
B,
when
or
they-
C kind of thing.
When they are unique, like an Elden Ring or a Breath of the Wild, or like, that's when it's like, well, there goes 100 hours. And then I don't play anything for a long time.
I forget I asked this question. I'm really struggling with
You're
it.
like still.
Anyway, who's next? You're up, Em. What's your would you rather? Would you either?
I don't know. I couldn't find a good one that I really wanted to.
Here, I'll give you a minute.
Okay.
Would you rather, excuse me, burp on camera or burp? No. Would you rather live in a future where people take everything too seriously, or a future where people don't take anything seriously?
Okay, so what's that movie where he travels to the future and they try to water their crops with that energy drink?
That is, God, what is it called? It's written by the guy who does Simpsons and King of the Hill.
I've never seen it. I don't think I ever.
I haven't either. What is it called?
I don't know what it's called.
It's
Someone's
absolutely
yelling
the
it
future we're
right
headed towards.
now.
What is it called?
Okay, well,
Oh my God.
I know it's like less funny than it used to be. Kind of.
It's getting increasingly less funny.
Right.
Yeah.
It was sort of like, haha, that's funny, and now it's like, this makes me
shit.
uncomfortable.
What is that called? It's by Mike Judge, I think.
Anyway, while you think
yeah.
of that, okay, so everything is taken too seriously, or nothing is taken seriously.
Well, that movie's
hate
not
when
right because those people are all dumb.
Idiocracy?
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just had to find it because I would never know otherwise. So
Yeah. So I'm saying they take it too seriously, intentionally, and they don't take anything seriously intentionally. So not dumb people, goofballs.
probably not take it too seriously. Well, I don't know because like right now I feel like we're at both and I hate it.
Yes. Yeah, we are somehow
I hate
in both of these
people,
positions.
And I hate people who take everything too serious. I hate it all.
But you
I
got to
just hate
pick one. What are you
everyone.
going to cut?
I think I'm going to cut the too serious.
You're cutting too serious.
I'm going with goofballs. Because if nobody cares, I mean, I guess we'll just dick around for a bit and then end of the world.
I don't know.
I was going to say everybody's too serious.
If it's too serious and you like walk outside and someone's it's like criticism. Like I couldn't.
I don't need to be attacked on a routine basis about. No, my dog's poop bags are not biodegradable. I will get the right ones.
It would just. Right now we're at a crossroad of both, and it sucks. So
I think we hit too serious a couple years back.
Yeah. But
too real?
Perhaps too real.
Oh shit! I still didn't get my.
Oh, you were supposed to be thinking of yours.
I wasn't.
I got another one. Here, I got another easy one. Well, it's not easy.
You're just going to distract her from actually finding one.
That's
Okay,
right.
go ahead, Ken.
Keep going.
I have two devices. I have two devices for you. You can pick one or the other. The first is a time machine. The other is a teleporter.
Does the time machine go forward and backward in time, or only one direction? Can I come back after I go there?
I just pick one?
Yeah, it's
machine.
Anywhere you go.
Do I go back in time? Does it alter my future, or do I create a new
that's a hot
fork
mess.
in the?
Don't mess with that.
I'm glad you asked. It does not change the future. We are playing by Avengers Endgame rules, not Back to the Future.
Okay. So I can go back.
Do whatever you want.
That doesn't affect my timeline's past.
Past.
I create a new fork in the timeline that I can return to my current present without having.
Yeah, but when you return, it's all just the present.
Yeah, it's back to normal. Now that's cool.
Why would you want to do that though?
Because then you go buy a lotto ticket a week ago with the right numbers, get the money, and come back.
Yeah, but how about I could just teleport anywhere in the world all the time?
Oh, I'm not saying the time machine's the right answer.
Right, we're just clarifying how the time machine works, so we can then make our decision.
The time machine scenario would just be really stressful.
But I'm telling you, it doesn't change anything except your present.
Yeah, but
this is time machine
can be
light.
Very stressful.
Yeah, this is like you're off the hook.
Ideal time machine.
Right.
This is primo stuff.
This is like you get to just view time. It's
what's my most hated thing? Driving in a car. Travel.
But you've got a time machine.
I don't.
So what do you pick?
The ultimate travel.
I'm talking myself into time machine without much effort here. I don't know. It sure sounds like it's time machine.
I would much rather be boop, I'm somewhere else.
But
that would just take so many stresses out of it.
It's like they're both, the nice thing about the teleporter is the ability to sort of
machine, in a way.
In a way, right? Boop, I want to go see things. I want to go see whatever. Yeah. And the time machine is almost this, I want to go see this. I want to go see what this was like or that.
You could teleport to Ken for the night, play a game, and bop back.
That's cool. That's cool.
You could be do you want to go have lunch in France? Boop. And then just come back.
That's cool, man.
I think, you know what? You make a good point, because if you had to use the time machine to do it, you got to get in the car, start the drive, hit the time machine, and you burn 14 hours.
Right, you may be in a time where it's even more difficult to travel to these places that you want to see.
I'm telling you, driving's the worst.
I've turned a 180. I think I'm full teleport now.
I think you've convinced us we want teleporters.
Just think of... Yeah.
Do you work for Big Teleporter? Are you trying to sell us something?
Well, now that you guys are on board, no.
Yeah, let me introduce you to the
my
GE.
Would You Rather's super simple.
Okay.
Would you rather have a monkey or a robot?
A robot.
Ooh.
What does the robot do?
Exactly what you would think a house robot would do.
Is it like from the Jetson? Jetsons?
Like Jetson style.
She has one wheel on the bottom and cleans.
She could do stairs, we'll say.
Does she wear that
Yeah, she has that
frilly...
it's around the waist. It's like a doily
apron.
Yeah, apron. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the robot. I'm gonna get way more use out of that robot.
I'm sure he's connected to the internet too. You can
even if you were
emails, all that junk.
If you said, "Do I want to have a monkey or not have a monkey?" I don't want.
I don't think I want a monkey either.
How about a robot?
Do you want a monkey?
No, not really. But how about a robot or an exotic pet of your choice that would be friendly to you?
It's pre-trained.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good to go. It's not this weird what do we do with the rhinoceros?
What would you pick,
whatever. Well, if someone was I have a jaguar that's my best friend, I think I'm gonna pick that over a robot.
I gotta go.
Now monkey, I don't care about the monkey. But if someone's
but if he's if you just get up and he's on the couch with a Pop-Tart and he waves.
You high five him.
Right.
That's true. It'd be pretty
It's like,
cool.
you want a coffee? And he's like, no, I'm good. You know, I don't. He signs to you. Yeah, ice. It's too hot. Ice.
Ice it.
Black.
No, I don't want an exotic pet.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it was cool though if you had like some like trained tiger or something?
No.
Maybe some really well-trained regular dogs.
If I could have no pets, that's what
How
I choose.
about a husky that's trained?
Yeah.
Is that the ultimate?
Can I have one extremely well-trained husky or Australian shepherd? That's...
Oh man, that would be cool though, wouldn't it? To have a dog that actually, if you like do the whistle, they know it.
Right, just like
an extremely well-trained.
Like you snap your fingers,
and they're by your side.
and he's there. Yeah.
That would be cool. That's what I mean, though, but it would just be any animal, essentially. It's that level of training. What you can do a dog, you can do a cat, you can do whatever.
I still want the robot.
What if you walk around with a cat that knows that much?
Look, I have had pets my whole life. I've loved my pets dearly. But if I could choose no pets or pets, I would choose no pets, probably.
Oh, you psychopath. That's the ultimate test right there.
That was not the question, and you revealed a lot about yourself.
Whoa.
The correct answer is the robot does all the crappy stuff I don't do anyway.
Right.
Like clean my house and do the laundry and do the dishes.
That is true.
Then it would get
be
done
nice
finally.
to have.
Right? And then it just goes in the closet or whatever.
A maid.
And then I can
turns
train a
itself
dog on my
off
own
and just-
time.
Okay.
I think
A well-trained dog or that Boston Dynamics robot dog?
Oh God, no! Well-trained
little
dog.
bit of
Then I would want a real dog.
You mean when those creepy things? That
Yeah,
I think us
doesn't do
assuming the
anything.
robot is utilitarian is making the robot too easy of a choice. What if it's essentially a robot that's like just a gimmick?
Why would I want that?
No, I don't want that. Pass.
That's not what you.
I don't want
What am
that
I going to
either.
go walk?
do you
my
want-
Now I
robot
choose
dog?
pet.
Do you
I choose
Yeah.
pet over that.
Do you want garbage in your house or not?
All right, never mind. Let's wrap this up. This is getting out of control. We're getting too close to me saying something stupid or getting
I'm gonna
teased.
go sleep upstairs with
I'm
my
dangerously
pets,
close.
and you, Ben, can stay down here
Taters.
because
Come
Sleep
on,
down here
Taters
by
is
the
great.
vacuum since you love robots, you son of a bitch.
Since you love robots so much. All right.
robots and video
Here we go.
games.
So thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of the Day Night Dice podcast. If you want to watch the video version of this, you can find it on YouTube along with a bunch of other YouTube videos. Some of us doing stuff that involves board games and some of it's video games. There's all kinds of fun stuff there. Also, go check out the Board Vengers YouTube channel where it's us and a bunch of other board game enthusiasts doing all kinds of fun stuff with board games. So until next time, I will leave space here for Emily to put her end of show notes that she always wants to put in. So there it was.
You son of a bitch.
And we'll see you later.
Have a good one.